I'm Jeff Schwartz. This is our March 2021 update. We got a lot of stuff going on this month. Let's go check it out. This 69 Mustang Coupe is moving along. We've been working on the interior stuff and it's going to turn out great. We've got a black with some red highlight theme on the interior of this, along with some contrast stitching. This is our new independent suspension that we've been testing for the last year. This is the first production unit going into a G-body chassis. This setup uses a Curry 9-inch center section along with the ZL1 Camaro uprights. It should be really great. We're going to be putting this in our Pontiac Tempest in the near future to see how it works with 900 horsepower. We've been driving this 67 Barracuda and our plan is to deliver it to the customer here shortly. You should be able to see this at the Good Guys in Scottsdale in a couple of weeks, mid-April. That's at Westworld, where Barrett Jackson is also held. So if you're in that area, come check this out. It should be in the show car field somewhere. If you watched last month, you saw this Woody made some real impressive numbers on the dyno. Now that the roads are clear and we've had a little rain to wash the salt off, we've been driving this on the road. We still have a couple minor issues with the tune for drivability. Once those are resolved, this will get shipped out to California where it'll be ripping up the mountain roads. This 47 Hudson was on the dyno last month and we did get a baseline run out of it of about 350 rear wheel, about 430 at the crank. However, the ECUs on these are kind of finicky and I think we're on the third one now. So we had to send a couple of them back to have them reprogrammed and then hopefully we'll get this thing wrapped up this month. This car also I'm planning on taking to the Good Guys in Scottsdale mid-April. So if you're down there, this one will probably be around the autocross somewhere. We've been waiting for some parts for this Mercury Cougar. Overall, it's turning out great. We've got some one-off wheels coming from EVOD Wheels that mimic the 5-spoke Shelby wheels from 69 and 70. So those should be coming at some point in the near future and we'll get those on here and then it should be going to its home in Ohio. After much drama getting the fuel pump, the ice storm in Texas, going to the wrong place, having a second fuel pump sent out, we finally got the fuel pump and it's in the car and we're ready to go on the dyno one more time for the final tuning. We also got the headliner in here. It's a Alcantara headliner, dark blue, looks great and can't wait to see this car finished. We finally got the Hemi engine and the chassis in this Coronet project and we should have even further progress next month. Another gray Chevelle project showed up this month and this one's getting a G-Machine chassis and an LT4 engine. So we've done some disassembly in preparation for installing the chassis in this Mustang project and then we've got this Hellcat engine in a Cutlass chassis. How cool is that? So this one is going to a professional football player and it should be a one-of-a-kind Cutlass with a Hellcat engine in there. This is another Chevy 2 Nova project, the one that had all the rust in it. We've got the new floor pan kind of mocked up in here as well as some other rust repair panels. We've cut out various pieces and replaced them. This is a piece of metal that we cut out and as you can see it was blasted on the front. There were some pinholes here showing and obviously we needed to cut that out because of that. And then when you look at the back side, there's pretty nasty rust there. So you got to keep that in mind. If you ever see pinholes, usually there's some nasty stuff back behind it if there's nothing on the surface. We've made a lot of progress on this 78 Trans Am project. We've fabricated this radiator support cover here and then we've filled a lot of holes in the core support and prepared it for smoothing. We've mocked up a lot of things on here, including the air intake and so forth. We're getting ready to fabricate some bracketry to mount the shaker on top of the blower. And this thing should have some significant progress by next month's video. Stay tuned. This is the Mercedes 450 SLC, and apparently some years of these cars had an aluminum hood. So we were able to obtain an aluminum hood, which is way lighter than that steel one that was on here. But in order to clear the blower that we've got in here, the LT4 blower, we're going to have to modify that hood bracing. So we've actually relieved that for clearance, and then we're welding in some pieces there to make it look finished. So I'm excited to have this new piece that'll take some weight off the nose of this heavy car. I know we've got several Chevy 2 Novas here, but this is the one with the LS3, and we've done some rust repairs on it. Got the chassis mounted. The LS3 is obviously in it now, and we've modified the trans tunnel for transmission clearance. We're in the process of mounting the air conditioning now, and this should be a pretty fun cruiser. We've been working on a lot of the fine details of this LT4 powered Mustang. Things such as master cylinders, plumbing, AC system, hoses for the AC, and so forth. We've also fabricated the air intake tube. So progress continues. Check it out next month. On this 54 Studebaker, we've finished up clearancing for the dry sump tank up here on the inner fender, and we're working on a couple of minor gussets on the chassis. So this thing is nearly ready for paint and body. We got to work on the door gaps once we're done with these couple of mods here, and then it'll go into the final bodywork and paint phase. So this beautiful 67 Camaro was not built here at Schwartz Performance, but it does have a Schwartz G-Machine chassis under it. The customer brought it to us recently for us to finish up some of the final details on the build. Anyway, it's a phenomenal car, and check it out. This 69 Camaro came in for a little bit of work and a Schwartz G-Machine chassis installation. Back in the 70s, the only muscle cars available were the Z28 Camaro and the Trans Am. The Camaro had a 350 engine that was the same engine that your grandpa's Impala had in it. And the Trans Ams had a 6.6 liter engine, 400 cubic inches. And even though the horsepower was kind of strangled on both of those engines, the Trans Am had way more torque than the Camaro and would just burn the tires at will pretty much, with a little encouraging brake torquing. Anyway, I ordered a brand new Trans Am in 1979 that looked just like the one on this shirt, yellow with the orange bird. Actually, I ordered it yellow with the charcoal bird. So when it came in, it had the orange bird on it, and I didn't want it because I thought it looked kind of ugly. So I backed out of the deal after waiting for it to be built for several months, and I never got it, and I ended up buying a used Corvette instead, which led me off on a completely different path. But over the years, I've owned lots of Corvettes and lots of Trans Ams and a couple of Camaros. So anyway, fast forward, I've always loved Trans Ams, as you know, but this color combination has grown on me over the years, and now I actually like the yellow with the red and orange bird. So I stumbled across this car, and I picked it up on Facebook Marketplace. It's got a fresh 455 Pontiac motor from 1971, a freshly rebuilt transmission in it, and it's a really rust-free Florida car that is really a nice rust-free example. Obviously, it's been painted satin black and doesn't look that great right now. So my plan for this car is to make it look like the one that I originally ordered back in '79, because I've now grown to love that paint scheme. So that's what this one's going to end up as. So I'm not going to be putting a Schwartz G-Machine chassis under here. It'll just be a mild resto mod with a few upgrades, and can't wait to see it done, looking like the car that I left on the dealer lot many years ago. As you already know, I love cars and motorcycles, and what we've got here is a 1993 Bimota Dieci, also known as YB10. Bimota is an Italian company that's been building bikes since the late 60s, founded by Bianchi, Mori, and Tamburini. And those guys took the first letters of their last name to name the company. So long story short, back in 1995, I was racing at Daytona in the Unlimited Twins class at Daytona, and I was sharing a garage with Alan Cathcart, who was driving or riding the Saxon Triumph bike. And I saw these amazing carbon fiber wheels they had on the bike, and I said, "Where did you get those wheels?" He said, "Well, we made them." I said, well, could you make me a set? He says, well, you'd have to talk to the team owner when he gets here tomorrow. So I talked to him the next day, and I commissioned him to build 3 sets of carbon fiber wheels in 1995, and they built me these sets of wheels. I put one on my Bimota YB8 and sold 2 other sets to a couple of friends, one of which was Jim Leonard in Birmingham, Alabama. So when I sold my YB8 Bimota several years later, many years later actually, I took the carbon wheels off and put the stock ones on, and Jim bought an additional set from me that I had on my YB8. So fast forward to about a month ago, Jim is liquidating his Bimota collection, and I picked up this YB8 with my wheels that were on my YB8 many years ago. So there's 3 sets of these wheels in the whole world, and I have the one on this one, and I also acquired the other set of wheels with another bike. So I have 2 of the 3 sets of these wheels that exist in the world. This bike, incidentally, was, I think 224 of these were made total for the whole world, and there's probably around 50 to 60 of them that ever came to the United States. So it's a real rare piece, and it's hard to believe this is 28 years old. Anyway, that's all for this month. Be sure and subscribe and like us on all the social media. Take care, and look forward to watching next month.